And this guy is just disintegrating. I guess you could say the name of the main spell I'm using is an on-point name. Hello everyone, and welcome back to some Magicraft. Today we'll be doing a laser-based run with Disintegrating Ray, and maybe a couple other things as well. If I had the dash set upgraded for the free tracking plus, I might be more tempted to take it, but since I don't have that, there's really nothing else here in the starting relics and spells that I would want too much for this build, so we'll just be running with the Pharmacist set today. This set can end up doing some really broken things if you get certain combinations of relics and potions and other stuff. I don't know how efficiently I'll be using it today, since I am pretty new to the game, but even then, it's just a set that kind of gives you a lot of free stuff throughout the run. So we'll be going on Nightmare difficulty for this run, and then I will see you guys once I have the band set up. For the build, I don't really have anything too specific in mind, so a lot of what I've done is just band a lot of the rares down to stuff I don't think I'll be using, obviously so I can roll into Ray of Disintegration and get that upgraded a lot more easily. And then for normal stuff, I think a couple of the things that I want are going to be stuff like Time Duration, Hover, and I know I'm going to want Fuse for sure, which I'll talk about why when we actually get to that. Other than that, we're just going to kind of go through the run and see how it plays out. I'm going to skip ahead to the first few boss fights, since I don't think the early parts of the run are anything too interesting. I'd rather just skip to the part where the build is already starting to get at least somewhat set up. So I will see you guys at the first boss. So to explain the Pharmacist set real quick, you get extra potion limit for how many potions you can hold, and then every 2 battles you gain a random potion, and then drinking potions will also restore health to you. So one thing that pairs very well with this is the relic called Healing Belt. Each potion use increases max HP by 3 and max MP by 2. So the longer the run goes on, the more HP and MP you'll be stacking up for free, thanks to these free potions. For my wand setup, it's just a pretty basic early game setup. I don't have the Disintegrating Ray or anything else that I really need yet, so it's just Rainbow with crit, precise shot, damage boost, and tracking. Tracking is extremely strong on the Rainbows. It's like you can see here, I get all of the hits of Rainbow most of the time when I'm firing them off. Whereas normally without the tracking, they end up spreading out and you don't end up getting a lot of hits off at once unless you're right next to the enemy. We will definitely take the octagonal die here. I'm tempted to also take the... Yeah, I'll take the silver key as well. I think we'll be fine. And then I will see you guys at the next boss fight. Alright, we are right outside of the second boss fight now, and we have much more of a build put together at this point. So we're running Ray of Disintegration, which is the main thing I wanted to look for this run, and then we're using Hover and Time Duration in order to make the Ray last a lot longer. And then for now, we're going to be using Venom to stack it up very quickly. This thing hits very fast, so it'll stack a lot of Venom. I want to try to drop this by the end of the run, though, and not rely on it too much. And then we're using multi-shot as well for now. So one of the issues with Ray of Disintegration normally is that you're stuck in the whole channeling duration. It also slows you down pretty considerably. A couple of ways you could get around this is by putting it on something like a Wand Spirit, or you can mix it with Fuse. So now I shoot out the fuses, and then the lasers attack on their own, independently of me. Another issue without doing this is that you can only have one set of lasers active at a time. You can't recast it to have, like, multiple lasers. Whereas when you have the fuses like this, you can also have multiple instances of the lasers down. And they should go through this boss pretty quickly. I believe another way you can kind of get around the rule of only being able to have one set of lasers down is you could also, instead of having it manually cast, you can put it on some kind of secondary wand slots. At least that's how it worked when I was doing some stuff with the stream of water that works similarly to the lasers. I guess we'll pick this up for now. Mostly just to take what's inside of it. I feel like traction is a very, like, generically useful option. Especially for clearing out the normal stages and then one of the final boss rush fights. So one idea I had with the lasers was to use something with Echo, since the lasers hit very quickly, and then since the lasers hit very quickly, you could be casting a lot of stuff off of Echo, but I don't know if it would really work out too well. For one problem, we're already using a lot of extra wand slots just to have the fuse and the ray of disintegration on there. And then trying to stack the Echo on top of that adds a whole lot of other wand slots that are taken up. I think wand slot efficiency is something that'll probably come into play a lot, especially when it comes to the earlier parts on the run. When it comes to just, like, build crafting stuff. It was a problem I was having with summon builds as well. It's just having a lot of wand slots taken up by extra things that I wouldn't need in other builds. So we do have something kind of set up with the Alchemist set right now. If I find a Life Spring room, I can do something that will give me a lot of gold. Otherwise, we're kind of just taking whatever stat potions we pick up along the way, and maybe a couple other things. So the laser builds also is already doing really well for itself. But the problem will be more so if it can scale into the late game, because that's usually what happens, is builds are pretty decent early on, and then they have a hard time scaling up to end-game level boss fights. Okay, so I did not do very well in dodging that room, but we did get a supernova out of it, which I don't know if I can really make use of that this run. And I don't know, I'm trying to think of what I could maybe re-roll it into for this build, but I'm not sure if any of the other relics would be useful right now. Maybe Arcane Nova could be useful. Okay, so technically I shouldn't do this until later in the run, but I'm going to get it out of the way now to show it off early on and just not have to worry about it anymore. Hopefully I do this in the right order as well. Also this is, since I took so much damage, this isn't really an efficient time to do this, but like I said, I just want to get it out of the way to show it off. So the first thing I'm going to do is Sacrificial Potion to get extra money, and then I think the way I want to do it next is I pick up this money, then I Wealth Potion, and then try to make sure as much of this money falls on the ground as possible, and then I duplicate it. There's a lot of, like, different orders you could do this in, so I honestly have no idea what the most efficient order of anything is. Also, like I said, doing it later in the run would also be way better, because I'd have more money saved up, and then also, being at higher HP would have also made it way more efficient. but I'd rather just not have that be something I have to worry about for the rest of the run. Like, making sure I show off the concept of it in general. This, as strong as the, like, pharmacist set is, it can be a little intimidating to play as a newer player, because there's just so much going on with all the potions being active at once. If we can find a certain room type, there's also another cool trick that I want to show off with it. But I'll need to have a potion and see that room type at the same time, so it may or may not come up. What it is that if you have one of those extra bonus rooms that has a bunch of the curse chests in them, you can use a potion that unlocks all chests to get all of those chests for free without having to take any of the curses. Ooh, Prospector's Goblet is perfect, since we already have a money setup started. We'll just need to find the Prospector's Pickaxe, and then we should have a big damage boost going for us. Let me think about if I want to process anything yet. I think I'm going to hold off until maybe just the next one. Also, even if I don't get the Prospectors, just having the extra bonus money from doing that setup will be really nice for shops and other things. Especially if I'm going to go and reforge the legendary that I have. I'm not going to use... I guess I'll pick it up and then use it in the next room. I don't really care about it too much, but the main thing is that I want to be using potions as often as possible, just for the relic that I showed off at the start of the run. I get extra max HP and MP every time I do, which is something that can add up a lot throughout the run, especially because there's another relic you can look for to combo with everything, where every time you use a potion, you have a chance to get another new potion. If everything works out well with this set, you can get some, like, really crazy results and stuff like HP, MP, coins, and then your coins can then convert over to damage because of Prospector's Pickaxe. I think the set is probably, like, I would say it's, like, theoretically the best set in the game, just because of things you can do on the other sets can also be done just by finding the spells and stuff throughout the run, or you can do something similar, even with the unique relics. There's definitely probably some certain things that you can do with the specific unique relics themselves, but I think in a lot of cases the pharmacist set will probably just end up being very good. I want to be able to get something going with the Wand Spirit, using some of the other lasers, but I'm not really sure, like, how to do that. Maybe something just with having it be a free poison stacker for me. And then I also want to get something going with the Prism Core as well, since that's another source of... it's a laser. So I think I do want to process now, and then I'm going to be looking for combining some of the laser stuff and then reforging Supernova, so I'll see you guys after I'm done. Alright, so I re-rolled the Epic into Magic Upgrade for now. I still might change this out later, but I think it's okay for now. So it's leveling up Ray of Disintegration and Multi-Shot, and then I switched this over to Full Duration. I took off the Hover for now. I might add that back in later. For the Wand Spirit Wand, I've got it just as a weird poison stacking thing. I doubt this is going to end up doing a whole lot, but it's there. And then we've set up a Prism Core kind of build as well, with full crit rate, And then this is just to help it regen, and then it's got strong traction, so it should be doing pretty good room clearing for us. With the 55% crit rate. Is this... No, this isn't reducing the crit rate on it at all. Also, this is kind of interesting too. The Energizer wand has a passive that boosts damage by 50% when MP consumption is below 10. So since this doesn't have a passive MP cost on it, the damage bonus goes up. Even though it does drain MP over time, I guess that passive is just counting the base cost of this of the spell and not anything else. I keep wanting to call spells moves, because that's what I'm used to saying from other games. I think it's probably a better idea just to go with the wild tentacles here. Movement speed is never a bad thing in this game. Oh, and speaking of... Does this really do anything? Oh yeah, it does. I'm fine with that. They look really weird, but oh well. They look like almost like really low quality. And that's probably just because they're like blown up in size. That room got cleared out really quickly though. We can run Collapse Crystal as well. I think even if I don't end up using this, it's good reroll fodder for rares. Where would I stick it though? I can put it on this. That's probably not a big deal. That other bottom one is just kind of there for a little bit of passive damage right now. It's not anything that I'm really using actively. Does this do anything else other than... No, it only affects size, but it feels like we're just clearing out rooms really quickly right now. I want to see how good the Prism Core is actually really strong as well, if I actually get in range and give it time to fire. Otherwise, with the Disintegrating rays, they're kind of just hitting everything before the Prism Cores can attack. So do I want to start going back into Hover, or do I want to... Instead of Wand Spirit, I think running Boundary Stone would also be a lot more efficient. So let's do that, and then... I think I have ++ now. Yep, I have enough to make this ++. I'm not really sure when... I feel like in most cases, it's a lot more efficient to just go Boundary Stones over Wand Spirits. Especially if you can get a really good setup with a couple other things. I'll try to show that off after the boss fight. And this guy is just disintegrating. I guess you could say the name of the main spell I'm using is an on-point name. So yeah, if you can get a Boundary Stone set up with Magic Vine, and then there's another one that converts MP regen into charging rate for the secondary slots. You can get secondary slots triggering extremely fast. Which I suppose you could do with Wand Spirits too, but then another thing with Wand Spirits is you do have to manage the MP regen on them. This might be a good one to use for my laser build. Not the laser build, but the Rune Core thing. Is that what it's called? The Prism Core, I mean. This doesn't really drain MP at first, but then the longer it hits, it just suddenly... It starts draining more and more MP. So I think having the 10-second reset isn't too big of a deal here. I don't think we'll mess with this too much. Explorer's Hat might not be a bad idea, but I'm not going to take it here. And then it might be time to... I think a good option here is to reforge Silver Key, since I already have a lot of keys saved up. Ooh, that is very good. Second Brain is probably one of the best legendary relics in the game, too. Having an extra selection of anything is very strong, whether it be relics or spells. And then I don't think I want to really sell anything here. I guess we'll reforge into ++, and then I can probably reroll the Wand Spirit and the Magic Vine. Once I get stuff figured out, I'll see you guys again. Okay, I think I'm fine with this setup for now. This one is basically just a laser stacker, or just a venom stacker at this point, I mean. I don't really know what else to do with it, at least for now. Maybe it'll go into some Echo stuff later. I could also maybe Prism Core into Echo, into Laser, but I don't think that's really too necessary. And then I moved some extra damage bonus up here, and then put Vine on Area Boost for now. I might switch what's in the Area Boost later on, but I'm not sure yet. So I was talking about cases where it might be better to use something like Wand Spirit over secondary slots, like the Boundary Stone stuff. And I thought of one case where it could actually come into play. But what I was trying to say earlier is that buffs from something like Area Boost, so for example, if I have Damage Boost here, you can see the damage as 10, and then if I switch it over, the damage is still 10. Slots that are considered secondary slots are different from the primary slots, and these are considered like a primary slot. That's the way I would explain it, at least. And then buffs from primary slots don't carry over to these secondary ones. So that is one case where something like a Wand Spirit could be better as a build than running a secondary slot setup with the Boundary Stones. But I still feel like in general the Boundary Stones are a lot easier to use. It seems like the build is definitely strong enough that we're set for the rest of this area at least. But if we run into issues, that's going to be on the boss fights, if anything. Either the boss fights of this area or the final boss rush is where builds usually end up having problems with DPS, at least in my experience playing so far. Alright, so we got a random Rainbow ++ from that, which will probably just be reroll fodder. I don't know when I'll be going into a reforge room next, though. I'm trying to make as much money and other things as I can for now. That way, hopefully, if I do roll into Prospector's Pickaxe at some point, I'll have a big damage boost for it. Black Mark would be nice, but I think I'm going to go ahead and reroll. Crit rate will work well with what we have, and then Bloodthirsty should be fine as well. I had another run with the Pharmacist set where I ended up at something like 28 keys, or something really goofy. I don't remember quite how many keys I had, but it was over 20, just because of the potions that duplicate your keys. I was trying to get something set up with the relic where... do we go Healing Belt level 2? Or Bunny Ears at this point? I think I'll take the bunny ears. Actually, oh wait, I forgot I can take both because of the second brain. But yeah, I was trying to get a run set up before this with something with the... There's a relic that allows you to... When a chest is opened, there's a chance to get a second chest. So I was trying to stack up a bunch of keys, and then get the other blood relic that makes it where a statue or a chest always appears in a room, and get something where I was unlocking a bunch of chests in a row. But I could never get the RNG on the chest duplication thing to really work out for me. So I think I'm kind of tempted to just lock all of this, because all of this is not bad. Am I anywhere close to multi-shot 2 yet? Probably not. And I think it's the same for kind of everything. I don't know if I'll be able to use the expansion stone, but I will keep it around. And then, I don't think Track Plus is too important. The spell duration on it is nice, but since I have ++ on the other duration thing, that's a majority of where I'm getting duration from. So I think I'll lock multi-shot for now, take the Mimicry Cube, since I can use the Mimicry Cube immediately. Get that up to 93% crit rate. Well, this run is going a lot better than I thought it would. I'm clearing out rooms a lot more quickly than I was in the previous attempt that I did for this. But also in the previous attempt, I did not use all of my bands like I did on this one. It kind of sucks how much better runs are, where you use like close to the full amount of bands compared to runs that you don't, because the bands get very expensive. If anyone knows a way to farm a bunch of crystals effectively, I would be interested in knowing about that. I think I really want this. Hopefully I have a way to get rid of that. Not being able to see text isn't really that big of a deal for me, since I know what everything does. But in terms of having it on the video, I don't like the fact that like people that might be new to the game can't see the text of what's going on. Now let's go ahead and take this. We'll take the Disintegrating Ray as well. Are we getting anywhere near... Yes, we are actually very near being able to get the Disintegrating Ray to ++. So maybe what I want to do is... I would really like to be able to have this to plus, or to plus as well, so I don't want to re-roll it quite yet. So I think we're pretty close to the end of the game, too. But I can also always just re-roll that in a reforging room, so I think it's fine to hold off for now. This should be the potion that takes me to 1 HP. Now I'm trying to remember what exactly it does. It takes you to 1 HP, but it gives you either gold or max HP. I think it gives you max HP. Oh, I should definitely stick my ++ to be in Reforged there. So I want to keep the sacrificial potion here. Oh, maybe I should not have taken this thing. I know what most of the spells do in the game, but I'm not nearly as familiar with what the potions do. Actually, what am I talking about? There's a removal thing right there. Okay, perfect. This is something I wanted to show off, I think. Okay, yes, I do have the right potion for it still. So with the lockpicking potion, I'm pretty sure I can use it here. Yes, perfect. You get all these chests for free without having to take any of the debuffs associated with them, which is extremely useful. And then we got exactly what we needed from this too, with the Prospector's Pickaxe. So now I should probably be up to, yeah, 263% damage bonus is not bad at all. So now I should be much more likely to have my DPS set up for the final area of the run. I'm not nearly as worried about it anymore. I was not sure if this run was going to come together completely or not, but I'm glad that it did. My last run I did complete with a laser build, but it was getting to the point of where it was killing fairly slow by the, or during the final boss fight, or the final boss rush, I mean. But this setup seems a lot stronger. This Overload Plus Plus is looking pretty tempting as well. The main problem right now is I just don't have a whole lot of slots on this wand. I think we'll save that for later. I might be able to do something with it if I get a better wand, or if I get a better wand with a lot more slots. I can do something with the extra slots with Vine, and then the extra cost. Let's see how fast this guy goes down. Yeah, pretty good. I seem to have accidentally kind of created another situation where it just makes a really bright effect on the enemy again, almost like the sun build I did last time. And I think this one will probably go perfectly with just needing more wand slots, like I mentioned. This could do something pretty fun if I wanted to go with the regular lasers, but I want to, with these regular lasers, if I had maybe like something with a wand spirit setup, I could probably do it with that. But I want to stick with the Ray of Disintegration. And then what did I say I wanted to do? Overload Plus, and yeah, I think I just stick the Magic Vine there and put either crit or duration here. I think crit would be the better of the two options. Oh yeah, that Vine helps out so much when it comes to being able to cast this multiple times. Now the build should be set up. That was kind of the one last thing I was missing, kind of, is some extra MP regen, and then a little bit of a damage boost. So I could go into the spring now and do my setup for Sacrificial Potion and Ultimate Potion. I'm also really close to reforging a couple things. I think I'll save the spring, since I might also maybe just need some healing too, depending on if I take a lot of damage here or not. For now, I'm going to try and reroll into probably a third area boost, or a third Ray of Disintegration, or both. Okay, so we did get exactly what we needed. The Ray of Disintegration plus. I got multi-shot up to plus. And then the area boost up to plus. So now I can stick a precise shot plus in here and get crit on both the Ray of Disintegration and the Prism Core. I wish I could put a little bit more on here, but I don't really have anything else that would do too much for it right now. Maybe it was actually a mistake putting these on this wand instead of something that could have regen, because I could get pretty high regen as well, but I think it's fine. It also would have been hard to build that one into regen and then build my main one into it at the same time. I think as just like a random passive wand that's got kind of thrown together, it's working out really well. That went down pretty quickly. I think I can kill the next one even faster, too. I wasn't really casting my main wand as fast as I could be there. I'm not really too happy with these options, I guess. Bloodthirsty Gaze is some more HP, and then Casket can do a little bit of damage in some of the, or in one of the boss fights, but I don't think it'll really end up being relevant. Now this time I'm just gonna full hold down my wand attack, which is not really the right idea for this boss. That's what I was worried about, the boss going like intangible for some reason, and then I wasted all my MP. But it's really a non-issue at this point. This boss has kind of a similar thing, where he can go into a state where he can't be hit. So sometimes you want to be careful with dumping all of your mana immediately. One good thing about this build, though, is that it has enough duration on it that even if I do kind of waste my mana, it ends up being fine. These options don't really help me out either. The secondary charge technically does affect my build, but the secondary wand is not doing anything at this point. And I guess we'll go into the spring here to use kind of the sacrificial potion again. We don't have a way to duplicate the coins, unfortunately, but it's still free money, which means free damage. I didn't end up ever using the discount or the refresh potion. That's something that's just hard to keep track of, at least for me being newer at the game. And then I'll use the ultimate potion next, and then grab the heal. I thought the fountains were a full heal, but I guess they're only a partial heal. I think actually maybe it's 80% when it's upgraded. I don't remember. Oh yeah, a question I had for people is I wanted to know if overcapping on crit rate does anything. I couldn't really tell. So I noticed that Prism Core right now is at 101% crit rate. The crit chance actually does go above 100%. I don't know if you can, like, double crit, or if it's just for a visual effect of just, like, telling you the actual total crit rate. The only other time I could think of where overcapping definitely would come into play is there's a projectile that gains extra damage for every crit rate you have over a certain amount, I think. I don't remember if that one just, like, caps at a certain crit rate or if it keeps going up. There's a lot I'm still learning about this game, so if you guys have any advice on general mechanical stuff, I'm always happy to hear that. I would rather not hear about which build setups are broken, but I'm more than happy to hear about things that are, like, mechanical things like that. Another thing I wanted to show off this run, but I kind of either just forgot about it or something. I don't really remember at this point. These runs get, like, I get really overwhelmed is what I said last time. I don't know if that's exactly the right word for it, but I guess that's a reasonable word for it. I don't know if it's exactly what I mean, but it's also, it works. By the time I'm like done thinking about all the build stuff while also doing commentary on top of it, it's just I'm really almost worn out by the time I finish runs. But that's something that'll get easier with time as I get much more familiar with the game. I guess we can go ahead and use the discount. I wonder if discounts stack. This might be a good time to try changing this wand. It would be nice to like maybe optimize the build a little bit more, but I don't think it's really necessary. I think we'll be more than fine. Oh, let's see how fast he goes down. I think the fact that he's moving is making them hit a lot less, but as soon as I get a good set of hits in, he's just gone. Alright, so that ended up being a pretty decent run. I'm happy with that with how that turned out. If you guys have some like general information on how some of the mechanics and stuff work behind the game, I'm always happy to hear those in a comment. Just try not to spoil builds for me, please. That's the only thing I don't want to hear about. But if you do have any suggestions for, like, a build theme, like a laser build, a thunder build, a fire build, that type of thing, I'd be more than happy to hear those. I might pick out a couple of those to do. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.